Walk with me.
Sports Bucks.
Turn your radio up. Let's go. Your money's talking. Are you listening? Your money's talking, so pay attention. Your money's talking with Steve Crawford. And it's the Steve Crawford Show. So let's go.
Let's go indeed. Sports Bucks with Steve, giving you everything you want and sometimes what you need. We got great segments to go to today. Let's talk about it. We're going to go into Coach's Corner, Inside the Red Zone, which is our NFL segment, and a new segment we're bringing you this week called Show Me the Money. I should have Dion Primetime's theme song for that. Must be the money that's turning them on. Must be the money. Must be the money. Show me the money. But we got to thank our sponsors. Fig Wealth Partners, the retirement wealth planning organization that focuses on wealth protection and accumulation. Ford Insurance Group and their subsidiary, ACA Health Place. ACA Health Place has all of the healthcare insurance you could need, down to a single business owner. Great site for an entrepreneur or individual who does not want an ACA subsidy. We can also help with those as well, but who's looking for a true group insurance plan, even down to a single individual. It's not age banded. There's so many opportunities there with acahealthplace.com. No deductible health insurance either. That's pretty amazing. No deductible health insurance. ACA Health Place is a subsidiary of Ford Insurance Group. We also want to thank My Virtual Docs for the telehealth program that is across the nation that is now integrated also in insurance programs. So check out My Virtual Docs online, myvirtualdocs.com. We also want to thank MyPillow, mypillow.com. That promo code is coffee, like John coffee. And the MyPillow store is, the promo code is cash. You got to pay me in paper. Pay me in paper. Cash. We also want to thank Low Cost Airlines and veteran car donations. You folks are listening and helping out the vets out there that's in the world that need your care. If you got a car you don't no longer need, get yourself a great tax deduction and help a vet. We always talk about helping a vet. Well, let's help a vet. So, you know what I want to get into? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things that's happening in the world of sports and entertainment and in the world of money, sports and money. Sports Bucks, the number one financial edutainment show, edutainment in the world, Craig. Sports Bucks with Steve. I am your host, Steve Crawford, wealth coach Steve, the retirement wealth coach, certified financial fiduciary and MBA, that's Masters in Business Administration, best-selling author, and a few other things that I've been able to accomplish, and very proud and thankful for the people who've helped me and for all those wonderful listeners that support us. We want to thank KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. Shout out to all the other stations across the country that are listening, that you can hear this show, all the great podcast platforms. And if you want to get involved on the show and become a sponsor, please give us a call at 1-800-306-5086, 1-800-306-5086. But to get the hype train going, I got to hear some music. Woo-wee! Go talk. Let's talk about it. We're going to go right to it. Tom Edward Patrick Brady, the GOAT, has retired. Or has he? Tom Brady almost feels like, you ever seen those boxers that don't want to leave the game? And they stay and stay and stay. And every time you think they retire, they come back and they re-retire. Let's hope. Oh, he's almost remind me of like Jason Voorhees, from the Friday the 13th and Michael Myers. They could never kill him. He was always coming back. let's hope for all of our fans that have been hurt by the New England Patriots. If only people that feel like they haven't been hurt is the New York Giants. I mean, they've been able to have his number. So, but let's hope this time that the GOAT, Tom Brady, has retired. But I want to hear from Tom and his thoughts about retiring. So let's go ahead and see that video right now. We got to go to the videotape, y'all, and go to what Thomas Patrick Brady is saying. Let's listen to Tom, the GOAT.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, the GOAT, said he wouldn't change a thing. Well, I don't think he would change a thing. I think that he's had the type of career that you can only dream about, right? And so what I want to share is a video courtesy of ESPN where Stephen A. Smith, and I believe it's Mad Dog Russo and Mike Francesca, who had the Mike and Mad Dog on a legendary show that came on back in New York. And I think they sort of set the standard for sports debate shows. These guys kind of got it started. So I know that Mike is a Hall of Famer, and I believe Mad Dog is as well. And so they had some interesting takes on Brady and his place in the GOAT Pantheon discussion, or greatest, of all time discussions. And let's just see, there may be a commercial that plays. We know how these things are. This is live. So we're going to see if we can hear it without all of that. But let's kind of go and let's see what these guys had to say about Thomas Patrick Brady.
Ceremony.
Okay.
He's not the best regular season quarterback I've ever seen. Peyton Manning was. What? He's not the best Super Bowl quarterback who ever lived. Joe Montana is. What he is, though, is the guy who played the longest, and he won the most games. He won the most Super Bowls. So he will be remembered because nobody's going to play 23 years, and nobody's probably ever going to have a chance to win that many Super Bowls. It's almost impossible to do. He was in the right place with the right coach, and he was that competitive. But let me say this. In the Super Bowl, just take the Super Bowl performances. Nobody ever has competed on the level Joe Montana competed on, not even close. And in the regular season, I watch every game in the regular season. The best down-to-down, Sunday-to-Sunday quarterback I've ever seen regular season was Peyton Manning.
I have to say this to you, Mike Francesca. Let me tell you something right now. Initially, when you said that, I was going to say, what blasphemous rhetoric is coming out of this man's mouth? But as I think about it, I'm like this. He's right.
Hey,
he wasn't the greatest regular season quarterback, and he wasn't the greatest Super Bowl quarterback. So here's my question to you. My question to you is this. Do you have any issue with Tom Brady being recognized as the greatest ever based on what you just said about the regular season and Super Bowl performance?
No, because longevity matters.
Longevity
and that
matters.
means records, and winning all those Super Bowls matters because that's how we keep score. But if you ask me, you have one game to win. I'm picking Joe Montana. Joe Montana's Super Bowl quarterback rating was 127.8. Brady's was in the 90s. Brady was great in the Super Bowl, but let's be honest, he got a lot of breaks in the Super Bowl too. Montana never made a mistake in the Super Bowl, never threw an interception, and he never lost. I thought he was the best Super Bowl quarterback. I thought Manning was the best, but when you add it all up, and you add in all the games and all the years, and you're going to have 23 years and 7 Super Bowls, nobody's going to surpass.
Yeah, I think Mike hit it right in the head. And him and I used to fight about Peyton Manning all the time because I don't think Manning as his greatest.
He was a bad postseason quarterback.
Not great.
But he was a great regular season quarterback.
He was. We fought like Pippen, crazy with Pippen. We used to fight these things because I think Manning is a little overrated historically because in the playoffs he wasn't nearly as good as he was in the regular season. Not as good. Not as good.
Was he bad?
Yes.
Or did he not measure up to Tom Brady?
No, he was bad because he didn't even play to the level he played in the regular
I don't know
season.
if Brady
I
was
want a
bad.
guy
If
to
Peyton
play
was
at
bad,
the same level or higher in the postseason.
He just
and
wasn't
he
elite.
Didn't even play
in the
to his
playoffs.
regular season performance.
That's why this is special. See, I love him already. See, this is special. Because when you say
Mike
stuff
knows.
like this, see, if I said this stuff, why you hating? Why? That means so. What's wrong with
better than you.
This is a beautiful, beautiful
He's
thing.
better than you.
I understand. I don't mind. I don't mind being deferential to great.
He doesn't mind being deferential to greatness. So I think that, they had some interesting conversations. So the question remains, or the question is Thomas Brady truly the GOAT? I think you can look at the resume, 7 Super Bowl championships, the MVPs. I think he has 5 MVPs. He set all the records, the passing yards, everything, touchdowns. When it matters the most, I kind of understand when they talk about Joe Montana. I thought Joe Montana was the GOAT. Statistically, his numbers weren't better than some of his contemporaries, like Dan Fouts and Dan Marino's and John Elway's of the world. But in the big game, Joe Montana was supreme king. So is it longevity? Is it championships? Is it the moments? Brady's got all those boxes checked. The GOAT is Tom Brady. Listen, you're listening to Sports Bucks with Steve, giving you everything you want and sometimes what you need. We'll take a quick commercial break so we can pay some of these bills that our sponsors have provided us. This is Sports Bucks. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for an affordable yet exceptional virtual healthcare solution for your workforce? Have you been thinking of a way to attract and keep a good team of employees? Well, your solution is here with My Virtual Docs. From virtual primary, urgent, and mental health care, a free and low-cost medicine formulary, and even pet care, My Virtual Docs has got everyone in the household covered. My Virtual Docs allows employers to provide employees and their families with convenient access to the care they need, on demand without having to miss valuable work time. Our strong network of providers and pharmacies means patients have unlimited access to their providers virtually with no copay, anywhere they can get online and have their medicines delivered right to their doorstep. By simply logging into their portal, patients can make appointments, visit with doctors, fill prescriptions, and more. And it keeps getting better. With the use of our smart app, Burn, your employees will be inspired to earn dollars while they burn calories. Who wouldn't want to get paid to go for a walk? Here at My Virtual Docs, we're committed to helping employers help employees and their families achieve optimal health and wellness with exceptional care at an affordable price. Visit myvirtualdocs.com for more details.
Is the cost of your meds giving you a headache? Prescription prices can vary significantly between pharmacies, but now you can save up to 80%. Simply download the RX Heroes mobile app, click Join Now to register, and then enter the promo code FOX to receive an additional 500 points just for signing up. RX Heroes offers rewards for shopping at your favorite retailers. Join the millions who save on their prescriptions. Download RX Heroes today on Apple App Store and Google Play.
At Ford Insurance Group, we know it's great to be able to simply wash your own car, to take some time out to enjoy the day. But we also know that life happens and expect the unexpected. Get your instant issue life and supplemental health products today at FordINSGroup.com. Ford Insurance Group, we've got you covered.
And we're back. Ford Insurance Group, ACAHealthPlace.com, ACA Health Place, Ford Insurance Group. We're going to go right into it. Show me the money. Must be the money that's turning them on. Well, it must be the money because the NFL has come out and said, we raising prices. NFL tells teams, the salary cap will be now $224.8 million. Sources have confirmed with ESPN that the record is now $224.8 million, up from $208.2 million. The leagues has set the amount also for the franchise tags, which was also set this past Monday, and the sources have confirmed, according to ESPN, that quarterbacks who receive a non-exclusive franchise tag before the deadline on March 7th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be paid a guaranteed salary of, listen to this, $32,416,000 for the 2023 season, if they can't agree to a long-term contract by the deadline in July. This is a huge quarterback. All this money just came from out of nowhere. $32 million is the new standard. So when people say Dak Prescott is paid or overpaid, he's making $40 million. That's getting ready to be a bargain for a top 10 quarterback, folks. You can hate on stuff and you can argue with something, but men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And in this case, the numbers are ringing that a franchise quarterback is going to make $40-50 million. That's the bottom line. Aaron Rodgers made 50, didn't even make the playoffs. Nobody said nothing. So let's be even on that one. In any event, these are the actual franchise tag amounts by position. Running backs, the franchise amount is $10 million, basically $10.1 million. Wide receivers are now at $19.743 million. Jerry Jones, you let her go a number one receiver. I'm gonna stop. Y'all gotta, I'm sorry. For $20 million. Now the franchise is set at almost $20 million for a wide receiver. What are you doing? Anyhow, that's a flag on the play moment. I'll see if I get to it. Tight ends are now $11.345 million. Offensive linemen are valued at now $18.244 million. So it ain't all about the glory, guy. Anybody listening and you kids are playing Little League football and you want to run the football, did you notice that the running back's franchise tag is $10 million, which is a whole lot, but the guy blocking is 18. Pay attention to that. The defensive ends, rushing the quarterback, is still pays very well. 19.7. That's almost $20 million. Defensive tackles, the interior guys like Aaron Donald, the great, Quinnen Williams and Chris Jones, to mention a few of the dominant ones, Fletcher Coxes of the world. These guys are now being franchise tagged at $18.937 million. Linebackers, Micah, defensive end, Micah, whatever he is. Fred Warner, $20,900,000, almost $21 million is the franchise tag. Cornerbacks, I got the sauce. You got the sauce. I got the sauce. It's now $18.14 million. Trayvon Diggs could be franchised at $18 million. Safeties, $14.46 million. And kickers and punters is now being franchised at $5.3, almost $5.4 million. This has been first reported by the NFL Network. So teams will be permitted to negotiate with unrestricted free agents starting on March 13th at noon Eastern time. And the 2023 league year will officially begin on March 15th at 4 p.m. So after which time free agent signings and trades can officially be announced. Now, the Chicago Bears are the leaders of the Midway, so to speak. They have the most salary cap space of over $91 million. The complete opposite of this, which is the 180, not 360, 180, is the New Orleans Saints, who have the least amount, as they are projected to be over the cap by more than $58 million. This is according to overthecap.com. How in the world are you over the cap with a team that didn't make playoffs? That's some bad management. So teams must be under the salary cap by the start of 2023. So there's going to be some cuts going on in New Orleans to get people you got to get them under the salary cap. And a lot of restructuring got to happen in New Orleans. So who's a cap hit casualty is the question I'm wondering. Does Cam Jordan, who's been an all-pro for 8 years and is a dominant historical player for that franchise, is he possibly on the move? We talk about Michael Thomas, the wide receiver. What's going to happen with him? Is he on the move? And what would he look like playing with the star maybe? We'll see. The Denver Broncos, actually, now in other news, have agreed to terms with New Orleans. There's the Saints again. To make Sean Payton the 19th head coach in the franchise history. And the Saints will receive, though, the Broncos' 2023 first-round pick, which is actually number 29 overall, and the 2024 second-round pick for Payton, and the Saints' 2024 third-round selection. Sources are telling, according to Adam Schefter, who seems to be on the know of all these things. The Broncos are also expected to make Payton one of the highest paid head coaches in the league. The trade puts the Saints back into the first round of the 23 draft. New Orleans had traded its 23 selection to the Philadelphia Eagles in a draft picks trade last year. So they got their pick back by basically getting compensated for Sean Payton signing somewhere else. The Broncos, we know Payton was a 2016 NFL Coach of the Year. Will succeed Nathaniel Hackett, who was fired December 26th, the day after the Broncos' horrible loss to the Baker Mayfield-led Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium. They lost 51-14. It was an embarrassment. And it dropped the Denver Broncos to 4-11, and the team finished the season 5-12 as interim coach Jerry Rosburg closed out the year. It was a bad year overall for the Broncos. They had one of the worst games I remember watching on Amazon, which was not Prime, even though it was on Prime, where they were in a 12-9 or 12-10, just horrible football game. But in any event, Sean Payton is a former Super Bowl winning head coach. He had the Super Bowl. I don't know what this number is. My Roman numerals is off today, but it says XL1V. You guys tell me what that is. Indianapolis Colts in that victory where he beat Peyton Manning's led Indianapolis Colts. Peyton did not coach this particular season, and was an analyst for Fox Sports. So he will be tasked with some heavy duty, got to put in some overtime trying to get Russell, last name Wilson, back on track as an offense, because Russell Wilson threw for a career low. I think it was 16 touchdowns passes, and he was sacked a career high of 55 times. That's a lot of, Sierra. You're going to have to take care of that's not a bad consolation prize, to go home to Sierra if you need to be massaged. It's not bad, anyway. The Broncos have actually missed the playoffs the last 7 consecutive seasons and have fired 3 coaches since 2019. Obviously Hackett, Vince Fangio, and Vance Joseph. So, this is the odd part. Kicker Brandon McManus is the only current player on the roster who was actually in uniform for the Broncos' last playoff game, which was their Super Bowl 50 win to close out the 2015 season. So that was the Peyton Manning parting gift by the NFL. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud. So we'll see what happens. But they interviewed a few different coaches, one of which is now the head coach for the Houston Texans, which is DeMeco Ryan, who's the former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, who had led that team's defense, who played lights out for most of the year until coming up short. And we'll talk a little bit about that in Inside the Red Zone. So he was hired over the likes of Jim Harbaugh, former Stanford coach David Shaw, former Atlanta Falcons and current Dallas Cowboy defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers coach Raheem Morris, and former Detroit Lions coach Jim Caldwell were also in the running for the job. So, we'll see how Sean, is this really going to be Peyton's place in Denver? But we'll see what happens. And lastly, in Show Me the Money, in college football news, LSU accidentally overpaid their head football coach, Brian Kelly, by $1 million during the first year of his $10-year, $100 million contract. They discovered the error and has moved to correct it. So the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office had actually come up with this, that they overpaid him. So Kelly was overpaid exactly $1,001,368 in supplemental payments in 2022 because of the duplicate payments made both to his LLC, Kelly's LLC, and to the coach directly. So we'll talk about that on one of these shows. We'll talk about deferred compensation and how you can put away a whole lot more money into your, as you're a key executive or key employee, you want to set up something through your company where you can compensate yourself beyond the 401ks and these qualified plans. We've got some unique plans that we can do this. And if you have a key executive or key employee that you must keep, we can even show you how you can reduce taxes and write it off as a tax deduction for the organization. You get to keep that key person, and then that person can eventually have access to the retirement funds when you set it up correctly, with some potentially tax preferred opportunities. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But Brian Kelly, they're going to correct it. He was hired this year after LSU had one of their worst seasons, finishing their first losing season since 1999, where they finished 6-7 the previous year. Of course, Brian Kelly was a previous coach for Notre Dame, but he exceeded expectations in his first season in Baton Rouge, and he won the SEC West Division. So they actually played the eventual national champions, back-to-back national champion Georgia Bulldogs, where they were beating the SEC championship, where Georgia, as you all know, went on to beat Ohio State and really should have been the championship game. And then they demolished TCU 65-7, the biggest lopsided loss ever. And actually, I think that's the biggest one in bowl history. And which the irony of it is that the same Brian Kelly led LSU, who finished 10-4 this season, they beat Purdue 63-7 in the Citrus Bowl. So, I think they just did 2 points better. LSU should be an interesting team this upcoming season, with the talent that's going to come into that place, which is just another one of those hotbeds for talent. When you start thinking about Alabama and Louisiana and some of these other states like Florida and Texas and the Georgia, these are just staples. And then you go up north and you go a little further up, you start seeing a lot of football talent in the Virginia area. There's some talent now you're really starting to see. Obviously in South Carolina, you see some talent there. In North Carolina is really starting to come up as far as football talent. So football is everywhere, man. So it's big stuff. But this is Show Me the Money. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back. I promise you, we'll be right back. This is Sports Bucks with Steve.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here is a great idea. Donate your car now and help local veterans in your area. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program, and within a few days we will come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car, in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised goes to help local veterans and their families, and you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now and book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Donation Program now.
800-709-9174. 800-709-9174. 800-709-9174. That's 800-709-9174.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-430-7923. 800-430-7923. 800-430-7923. That's 800-4...
Does the recent stock market run make you nervous? Are you concerned about outliving your money? You have insurance on your car and your homes and even on your cell phone. But do you have insurance on your retirement? Call Steve Crawford, certified financial fiduciary, the Retirement Wealth Coach, at 980-216-8487, 980-216-8487. Stephen Crawford, the Retirement Wealth Coach. And we're back. We're back. Sports Bucks with Steve. We're going to go right into it. Inside the red zone. Sports Bucks inside the red zone. Let's go right into it. His history has been made. The Sports Bucks has decided, and we called it. We predicted it. I told people this was going to be the Super Bowl matchup. And in the famous words of a great rapper, it was the moment I feared. Slick Rick, the ruler. I was concerned about Philadelphia because they did all of the movements, all of the things that when somebody's trying to win, Jerry Jones, you go out and make your team better. You don't take away. You go out and make your team better. Are we listening? Did we not just see this movie? Did we not watch the Rams go get Von Miller added to that talented roster with Aaron Donald? Did we not go see them go get Odell Beckham Jr. to take them over the top and win a Super Bowl and go out and get Matthew Stafford, a rifled arm quarterback with talent around him? They went and got Jalen Ramsey a few years before that. They went and got Bobby Wagner. They even added this year. That didn't work out for him this year, but the writing was on the proverbial wall. Did we not watch the Bucks go get Brady and go add Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski and Leonard, playoff Leonard Fournette, and all the other key ingredients that they added to that team that was already talented? They just needed Jameis Winston not to do his own version of 30 for 30. 30 with 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. But history has been made. The Kansas City Chiefs were able to hold off the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 to win the AFC Championship. This is the third Super Bowl appearance by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the last 5 years, man. And Patrick Mahomes is that guy. He is the new standard of quarterback. And so they were able to finally kind of get the proverbial monkey off their back by beating a team that had their number in the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, did they have some help? In the words of Kevin Hart, help me. Because officials were very friendly with that whistle. Extremely friendly with that whistle. We'll put it that way. We saw another friendly whistle somewhat in the NFC Championship when you watched the Philadelphia Eagles take down a extremely depleted San Francisco 49ers. When I say depleted, I've never seen anything like it. San Francisco 49ers is now on their 17th quarterback. I mean, I'm joking, but I mean, they started the season as Trey Lance as a starting quarterback. They lost him, Jimmy Garoppolo, who they was trying to get rid of, trying to trade him for a bag of chips and some Kool-Aid, and ended up deciding that he must stay. Fortunate enough, he kept the ship going. Then he gets hurt. So then they bring in Mr. Irrelevant, the quarterback, Brock Purdy, the last person drafted in the last draft of the NFL draft out of Iowa State. And Brock Purdy was pretty good until he got hurt against the Eagles, and he tore his UCL, which some accused him of being a little bit Purdue chicken. And that wasn't the case, because Purdy tore his UCL, and I believe there is talks of him being out for 6 months, and he may require Tommy John surgery. So on top of that, well, the Eagles got a break when Devontae swung for it and came down with it, but didn't actually catch it. It was not challenged. That was a fourth down play, ended up in a touchdown a play or two later, which gave the Eagles a 7-0 lead, and the 49ers were playing from behind after that. And you can't play from behind when you don't have a quarterback who can throw the football. So the Eagles were able to take advantage of that. Brock Purdy was out. He got hurt. They bring in Josh Johnson, and what happens to him? He goes out. I've never seen a team this fortunate, talented, but have everything lined up for them to get to the Super Bowl. From the moment Howard Roseman did all of the trades he was just fleecing people. Gardner Johnson from the Saints. They added Hassan Reddick from the Panthers. I'm like, are you guys serious? They brought in A.J. Brown. Tennessee, what are you doing? You traded away your only other playmaker outside of Derek, the He-Man running back you got, and then you get rid of another bulk of a Titan, somebody straight out of the Marvel comic books is A.J. Brown playing wide receiver, and you trade him to the Philadelphia Eagles? And what? Then they pick up Bradbury off of are you kidding, New York? You just let him go? They got and then they got Ndamukong Suh, Linval Jones. I mean, they drafted. Are you kidding me? To go with a team that had already made the playoffs. And then their schedule was as pie as it gets. Every break has gone Philadelphia way. They got the Giants, who overachieved. Brian Daboll, coach of the year, but they didn't have. Tell me who's the New York Giants wide receiver. I'm waiting. Tell me who's their dominant defensive player. I'm waiting. The Lawrence, the D tackle, he's not better than the top 4 or 5 guys at his position. Daniel Jones, is he a top 10 quarterback? No. He had some moments. This is who they got in the first round, and the second round, which was the second round of the playoff for their first opponent. And then they get the San Francisco 49ers, and the third string quarterback got hurt, then the fourth string gets hurt. Very fortunate. And unfortunately, I think they are loaded on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line. And they're going to be playing against Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, who is the most talented quarterback they're going to play. And that's everybody. But he's the best quarterback they've played all season, not named Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott. Yes, I said Dak Prescott. And we saw what Aaron Rodgers did to that passing defense. That's supposed to have been the best in the NFL. And we saw that Dak Prescott put up 40 on the Eagles. And don't tell me because Jalen Hurts didn't play. Jalen Hurts does not play defense. I guarantee you that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have watched that tape, and they are licking their chops to go after that secondary. Because you're going to keep Patrick on the move and not just sit back there in the pocket where he can get tore up by that great pass rush that the Eagles have. Interesting game. But I want to do here real quickly. I do want to hear from Patrick and Jalen and hear their thoughts about this historic matchup of black quarterbacks, African-American quarterbacks, meeting in the Super Bowl. This is pretty exciting stuff. Let's hear from Jalen Hurts and the great Patrick Mahomes, the likely MVP and most likely the runner-up. Listen to this.
Stage and have 2 black quarterbacks start in the Super Bowl. I think it's special, and I've learned more and more about the history of the black quarterback since I've been in this league, and the guys that came before me. Whenever a guy like Doug Williams or Michael Vick or Donovan McNabb go out and play great football, it gives other guys like me and Jalen chances to have this platform and have this spot on an NFL team.
Yeah, I think it's history. I think it's something that's worthy of being noted, and it is history. It's come a long way. I think there's only been 7 African-American quarterbacks to play in the Super Bowl. So to be the first for some is pretty cool. So I know it'll be a good one.
Be on the world stage, and
be on the world stage. I guess Patrick wanted to keep talking about it, but I think it's obviously historic. It's going to be an interesting game. I said this earlier. The moment I feared, I was hoping that the Eagles would not do everything that the writing on the walls was saying, and they've done it. They have the best complete team in football. They've got all the breaks, but I think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm hoping for the Chiefs. Just letting it out there. I like Jalen Hurts. I don't like the Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts. I don't like the Eagles fans or their coach, but I like Jalen Hurts a lot. He is the epitome of a young man who is fine. You can tell he's well-raised. He's well-mannered. He's respectful. He's a grown man. He's just got the right temperament. Really like and respect Jalen Hurts, and he is a team-first guy in a world where people can be divas. My prediction is the Eagles by 4, hoping I'm wrong, in the Andy Reid Eagles Reunion Bowl and the historic implications of black quarterbacks playing against each other for the first time in history. So hopefully Patrick Mahomes gets his second ring. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl for the second time in 6 years. Remember, they finished the 2017 season as champs, and now we're completing the 2022 season. So that's actually 6 seasons when you count. So this is Inside the Red Zone. We're going to take another quick commercial break. Well, it sounds like Drake, but we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Is the cost of your meds giving you a headache? Prescription prices can vary significantly between pharmacies, but now you can save up to 80%. Simply download the RX Heroes mobile app, click Join Now to register, and then enter the promo code FOX to receive an additional 500 points just for signing up. RX Heroes offers rewards for shopping at your favorite retailers. Join the millions who save on their prescriptions. Download RX Heroes today on Apple App Store and Google Play.
You have insurance on your home. You have an insurance on your car. Some even have insurance on your phone. But do you have insurance on your retirement? Call Certified Financial Fiduciary Steve Crawford, the Retirement Wealth Coach, at 980-216-8487. 980-216-8487. Let's sit down and discuss a retirement review and make sure you're on the right path. Coach Steve, the Retirement Wealth Coach. Sports, with Steve. We're back. Like to have a little fun. Listen, I want to go right into Cowboys check-in because the show is fast flying by. But this is one of those situations with the Cowboys check-in where I think I've heard one really good explanation of what Dak Prescott is. And when wrong, it's like somebody, when you don't want to be wrong, you can't be right, but you refuse to be wrong, but you're wrong at the same time, if I'm making sense. Jerry Jones, love the one you're with, but why did you get rid of the one you had, man? So this, I thought, was Jerry Jones when asked about Amari Cooper. He literally said he has no regrets. Listen to this interview.
You could say that we probably had too much reliance on what Tolbert could do because we were high on him coming out and thought he could immediately be a factor. We had thought that possibly we could have better results relative to Gallup as far as his rehab and where he is. So I could say that. The other parts of it, the elephant in the room that you're talking about, was when I look at the salary that was involved there, over $20 million a year, and I look at what we got with that salary to help this team, that we wouldn't have been able to have on this team had we kept it. I like what we did.
Jerry Jones says he likes what they did. And I'm telling you that Jerry Jones has made a whole lot of money by not telling the truth or telling half-truths, because Jerry Jones had more money in the salary cap available to pick up other players. I believe they finished with about another $15 million or so available. The getting rid of Amari Cooper and the media's lack of just being 100 when it comes to Dak Prescott, just being completely honest, is shameful and embarrassing. And this was a situation where Jerry Jones and the Jones family and the Dallas Cowboys organization, it was personal with Amari Cooper. For whatever reason, it was personal. You sent a number one bona fide receiver. I just told you guys what the salary cap is going to be. Franchise tag is going to be basically $20 million. You gave away a $20 million receiver that you claimed that you were able to replace, but you still had money left over. You could have signed him. Remember, they were going to sign Randy, can't get out of my way, can't get right Gregory for that big, massive signing. So they had the money, folks. Don't let Jerry Jones be the snake oil salesman that he's been doing for years with the Dallas Cowboys. And if you guys want to be honest, Dak Prescott is not Patrick Mahomes. He's not supposed to be. He was a fourth-round draft pick that's overachieved. Patrick Mahomes is a first-round pick. He's the best player in the NFL. Nor is he supposed to be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was a number one overall pick. He's not supposed to be that. But he's good enough to help you win if you give him the right pieces. Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round. According to the NFL, that makes him a bigger prospect than Dak Prescott. But they went out and loaded him up with talent, offensive line, running backs, wide receivers. He's got it all.
Josh Allen, who they love and is a really good player, but his interceptions were out of control. But they loaded him up with wide receivers and talent. They just started having injuries. They don't have a running game. That's Buffalo's time. So I don't really want to hear this false narrative that's being put out there. But I did want to play this one last video as time is getting short. Let's see if I've got time to play it. And this is by courtesy of Mike Leslie, who was making a conversation. He kind of put a ribbon on the bow here, a bow on the ribbon on the cake, on the gift, I should say, with what really needs to happen with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, you've had 48 hours to digest everything and hash out in your brain the end of this Cowboys season. What looked like a team that had potential for a playoff run instead lost in the divisional round again. There's a clear reality staring Cowboys fans in the face. This is who Dak Prescott is. Good enough to silence all his critics 1 week in Tampa Bay, but also capable of throwing gas right back on the fire 6 days later with a 2 interception performance that should have been 3, getting outplayed by a rookie making his 7th career start. Dak Prescott, history and statistics will tell you, is not an interception-prone quarterback. Prior to this season, his interception percentage was just 1.7. That's a very good number. This year, it ballooned to 3.8. Some of those picks weren't his fault, sure, but that figure is still problematic. And this issue cropping up out of nowhere in year 7 has to be at least a little bit concerning. Maybe next year he'll get the interceptions back in check. Maybe next year he'll play more like he did last season when he threw for 37 touchdown passes, had only 10 picks, and had a passer rating of 104. But where I am right now is this. Dak Prescott is not the guy who's going to carry you to a Super Bowl. He is good enough to be a part of a Super Bowl team, but he needs more around him than what they had on offense this year. Dallas lost that game on Sunday the moment Tony Pollard fractured his fibula because the Cowboys did not have enough explosive players. It was him and CeeDee Lamb, and now we're done. That's not enough. The Cowboys' decision to move on from Amari Cooper proved foolish and ultimately fatal for their football season. And now they have to use this offseason to put more weapons around Prescott. There are a handful of quarterbacks around this league who are elite. Pat Mahomes of the Chiefs, Joe Burrow of the Bengals, maybe Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is on his way there. Guys who are going to make their teams a threat to go on a deep playoff run year in and year out just because they are there. Prescott isn't that. He needs more around him. Dallas can give him that. They can do all the cap gymnastics in the world and make it work. But it can't all be on the back of number 4 because otherwise you're going to keep hitting this divisional round ceiling. But if you want to move on from him, that's just not the answer here. Cowboys fans have been fortunate over the last couple decades. Tony Romo and Dak Prescott have provided this organization with 17 straight years of at least good quarterback play, some years very good. So you haven't been in a QB desert for a while. You don't want the days of Quincy Carter and Chad Hutchinson again. Prescott gives you a chance, but you have to give him more.
You have to give him more. You have to give Dak Prescott more. Listen, we're going to take our last commercial break. You're listening to Sports Bucks with Steve, and we will be right back after this short commercial break.
Does the recent stock market run make you nervous? Are you concerned about outliving your money? You have insurance on your car and your homes and even on your cell phone. But do you have insurance on your retirement? Call Steve Crawford, certified financial fiduciary, the Retirement Wealth Coach at 980-216-8487, 980-216-8487. Stephen Crawford, the Retirement Wealth Coach.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow. I support this show, and I would like to offer you our biggest discounts for listening. So please go to our website, mypillow.com, and put in the promo code at the end of this message to get the biggest discounts. Again, thanks for listening, and God bless.
And we're back as we come to the home stretch of Sports Bucks with Steve. I want to go real quickly in the Coach's Corner and share with you an idea for your retirement. Let's go right into Coach's Corner as we tend to do every week, we have a tip and idea. And if you guys want to get in contact with me, we can sort of help you with this idea and this concept. This is Coach's Corner, sponsored by Fig Wealth Partners, figwealthpartners.com.
Talk with the retirement planning professional. Assets. When we are ready to retire, we must convert our retirement assets, that is, our savings or investments, into retirement income that will last for the rest of our lives. But the question is, how much income can we take from our savings each year without the risk of running out of money? Do we withdraw only the interest or dividend earnings, never touching the principal, and hope those earnings, which are not guaranteed, will always be enough to maintain our lifestyle? Or do we withdraw a combination of both principal and earnings and hope that we do not run out of money? Well, the standard conventional answer to this question is to keep our money in a combination of stocks and bonds and withdraw 4% each year from a combination of growth and earnings, meaning interest or dividends. The assumption is that on average and over time, our earnings will keep pace with our withdrawals and we will never run out of money. However, because growth and earnings from stocks and bonds cannot be guaranteed, and knowing that the market is likely to lose between 20 and 50% of its value at least once every 10 years, and that it usually takes several years to earn back those losses, the timing of those losses can have a substantial impact on our income withdrawals. For example, Professor of Finance at Baylor University, Dr. William Reichenstein, studied various retirement income strategies with the actual market yields over an average 30-year period. And he discovered that a hypothetical 65-year-old retiree with a $1 million investment portfolio made up of 40% stocks for growth and 60% bonds for income, and then withdrawing 4% or $4,000 a month, would have completely run out of money at age 88 due to the actual market performance during that 30-year period. However, after studying alternative strategies, Professor Reichenstein determined that if this hypothetical retiree had taken only half of his portfolio and bought a guaranteed income annuity while keeping the other half in the same combination of stocks and bonds, he would have gotten the same $4,000 a month, but would have still had $135,000 left at age 95. With only half his savings in an income annuity, this retiree would have the same $4,000 monthly income guaranteed for 7 more years and still have $135,000 in cash at age 95 instead of being broke at age 88.
So, I guess you guys see the point of the matter. Listen, we're getting ready to get out of here as we've run out of time. And every superhero, as you guys know, needs his own theme song. And so we have this. This is Sports Bucks with Steve. You want to learn about how to get that and other ideas, 980-216-8487, 980-216-8487, Fig Wealth Partners. Catch us online at figwealthpartners.com. I want to thank all of our sponsors, My Virtual Docs, myvirtualdocs.com. We want to thank ACAHealthPlace.com, FigWealthPartners.com, MyPillow.com. Code is coffee. And the store is cash. So MyPillow store is cash. Promo code coffee on MyPillow.com. And we want to thank Low Cost Airlines, veteran card donations, and across the nation, KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. All of the major podcast platforms that play Sports Bucks with Steve. We want to thank Ryan Rystar Young once again for the beat and the inspiration from the great Wu-Tang Clan and the Dipset. This is Sports Bucks with Steve. We'll see you next week.